The hook or high concept for this film is actually pretty simple. The belief in the existence of angels is in every major world religion. So the question is, the concept is, what would it look like in real terms, not in terms of the movies Gabriel and Constantine and Legion, where angels are either corrupt or they're coming to Earth with a bunch of guns. What would it really look like? How they would intervene in our lives? Regardless of personal beliefs, we all have questioned this stuff. Some of us have come to different conclusions, but we have this in common. The first scene starts where a couple are driving together to a concert. Now they're an interracial couple. They're arguing. They're having a really nasty fight. They get to the concert, but they see the ex-boyfriend is there, and he's insane, and he's with a couple of his buddies. There's an attempted murder during which a possession occurs. This is the bathroom at the concert. During this scene, the ex is doing his little bizarre vanity ritual, and unbeknownst to him is a spirit of murder who does, by his own permission, but without his awareness, enter into him, and then he goes after the actual boyfriend of whom he is jealous. So they call the concert off, but Hannah's too devastated. She has an intuitive sense, and then sure enough she sees Dominic being carried away by a stretcher. She's too devastated to really get the information of which hospital he's going to, but she exits, and then Tanner follows her out into the parking lot. Now Hannah sees him following. She knows that he's a madman, so she goes into a separate area. She runs down an alleyway. He follows her. She hides, but she's in a dead-end street. The scene cuts to a scene in heaven. This is a palace in heaven. Hannah's dead grandmother sees the situation unfold. She rushes to the angels, telling them to hurry. They kind of make jokes because they're joyful, and because there's no need to rush in heaven. The archangel here is Sidriel. I borrowed many names and identities from a dictionary of angels, including fallen angels, by Gustav Davidson. And so she basically decides, well, if we don't intervene here, then we're going to lose Hannah and her son. And so she commands Baha'u'llah to go down and shield Hannah, which is what he does. He flies from the sky, and he goes down, and he cloaks her presence from Tanner, such that he looks right at her and cannot see her. Of course, Murder, who is within Tanner, also witnesses this act of intervention. Murder then goes to his head demon, Guziel. Now their realm is Beale Street / Hades. This takes place in Memphis, famous Beale Street. At this place, though, there are several humans, and then there are several demons acting upon them. These demons take various forms. So this is Beale Street / Hades. There's Murder, and that's his archdemon that he reports to Guziel. Several of these are people, of course. This is a dancing crackhead. He's having a good time. Little Beetlejuice Cyclops demon there next to him. This is a person. This is a demon. This is a couple. This is a floating boobs demon. And anyway, they're discussing the scene, and they wonder, was there an intervention by the enemy? Murder says that there was, and so Guziel says, well, you know what we have to do in the case of interventions or miracles. We have to report them to our archdemon, a grand duke in hell named Focalor. So that's what they do. So this is Focalor's cavern. He's using a machine that generates a red hologram over his head. He pushes buttons in here. And they go there and they're saying, which human are you talking about? And they give him a bunch of numbers and letters. He looks it up. What about her? Well, we witnessed an intervention by the enemy. Well, he gets, are you certain about this? And Murder says yes, while Guziel simultaneously says no. So he roars at them, how dare you approach me with your indecision? Go and know for certain. So it's the next day now, and Hannah has to go to Dominic's mother's house to find out where in fact he is, which hospital he's at. So she's there, and the mother, of course, and the brother Terrence and the sister Jasmine give her a very, cold welcoming. But Hannah is very clever. She uses something that Dominic said that his mother used to say, and she says, you know how you used to say this? And so all of a sudden the mother thinks, well, she's been listening to me anyway. The only reason why Nia, the mother, is going to give Hannah the information is because Hannah agrees to go to church with her. So the next day, in fact, she goes to church. It's a Sunday, and she meets a woman who just really embraces her fully, a woman named Aliyah. Now they go and they sit down, and a pastor gives a sermon. Now, when making a movie that is either religious or not religious, what you're going to risk is ticking off half the population. It's a very clear fence. In this, though, however, I have everything that is holy and wonderful about the church that is personified in one of the pastors at this church. Everything that is evil, in other words, the bad Christianity, is personified in his biological brother, who also pastors the church. It's very interesting, and it balances the equation. So the good pastor gets up there and he gives the parable of the Good Samaritan, and but he gives it in a different sense. He says, imagine if it were you lying on the ground, broken and battered, and the object of your hate. It brings in the racial tension. The object of your hate, whether it be such and such, comes and he picks you up and he takes care of you, takes you to the hospital, and the church is like, amen, we like this. And he says, well, do you really like this? Because if you do mean that, then I'm going to put you to the test. Basically, he puts a motion, and puts it up to vote. Does the church want to help finance Dominic's medical expenses, since now he's been in the hospital after a stabbing? So then Guziel and Murder are back discussing their options, and they know they have to come with an answer. Nobody else witnessed the intervention, so they decide, well, we better go up to heaven and petition them for an exchange of information. They gather the other three demons in their principality, which are bigotry, dressed as a Nazi, religiosity, dressed as a church lady, and greed, dressed as a businessman. They all go up there together. They arrive at the gates. They petition Sidriel, because they know that she's the one that kind of is in charge of this specific case. And Sidriel comes. They immediately demand, we want to know. She kind of jokes with, the other warrior demons there. Oh, they come here with demands. How scary. Anyway, they do exchange information, but what they have to give her, they find out, okay, yes, an intervention was performed. The individual to whom the group of them, the principality, is assigned, and that is actually the good pastor back at the church, Pastor Trevin, the evil one being named Pastor Jamal. As far as my credentials, when I was 17, I was tested, my IQ found to be in the 99th percentile. I've had a degree in German, degree in graphic design, pursuing a degree in Master's of Divinity. I've got about 22 really good invention ideas, innovations, that I'd like to get out there in the market.